Namo Namaha Bhavtam Sarvesham Hartam Swagatam. Welcome back to this channel Sanskrit Sopanam. I hope you are doing great. I am also good. And continuing in a series learning Sanskrit through Gita, today we are decoding the 7th shloka from the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And as we are actually seeing all these shlokas we are doing right now, including the previous shlokas, a couple of previous shlokas that we have done, all these shlokas are like a single chain of thought of Arjuna. And naturally, all these verses, all these shlokas are interconnected with each other contextually. So, Sanskrit wise, definitely, with each shloka, with each verse, we learn something new. We practice some new concept, some new vocabulary, some new grammar. But contextually, all these shlokas we are doing are interconnected with each other because, again, a single chain of thought, either of Arjuna or of Krishna. So, even though Sanskrit wise, you will understand everything, but to appreciate it more, if you are going in, if you are moving forward in this order, so contextually also you will connect all these shlokas very well. But having said this, let us start decoding the shloka for today. So this is our shloka today. Let me go through the shloka once. Karpanya dosho pahata swabhavaha prichhami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha yachreyasyanischitam bruhi tanme shishyaste ham shadhi mam tvam prapannam. So this here is the shloka and this here is the sandhi vichhed version of the shloka. So again you can see a few sandhis that are happening here, like you see here, yat shreyah. So it is yat shreyah. So first you have a shchuttu sandhi that is happening here, and then following it you have another sandhi that is chatva sandhi that is happening here. Due to this yat shreyah, this combines as yat shreyah. Okay, and if you'll move forward, this syat and nishchitam. So obviously there is a anunasika sandhi that is happening here. The same sandhi is happening here also. Tatme. So tanme. This anunasika sandhi. Okay. And if we'll move forward, you have another sandhi that is here. Shishyahate. So shishyaste. A sakara sandhi that is happening here. And here you have a purvaroop sandhi. Teham. This sign is coming. That is a purvaroop sandhi. So even though quite a few sandhis that are happening here, but again, all these sandhis we have seen so many times, we have practiced so many times before, but still it is always a good idea to practice them again and again with each shloka. And for this very practice purpose, you have the PDF file that you can download from the link in the description box. All the sandhi details, all the word by word breakdown, everything you will find there if I miss out anything in the video. So yeah, do download that PDF file. But now let us start decoding the shloka. And this shloka actually has quite a few parts. You can break down the shloka into few different sections. So there is one section that is this, the first line kind of, Prachami. Then there is this small section. Then you have this little section, Me Shishyahate. Then you have last section. So generally this shloka can be broken down into different sections. How so? You will see while we decode the shloka. Anyways, we'll starting with this word Prichhami. This is our Kriya Pada. This is our Dhatu Rupa. Prichhami simply means I am asking. Okay, I am. Because again, by the looks of it, you can see Pathami, Vadami, Prichhami. So it is a Uttama Purush Kriya Pada. It is a first person. Obviously, Arjuna is talking about himself, that I am asking or I am questioning in that sense. And this particular Rupa, this particular verb form is obviously coming from the Dhatu Pracha. Pracha Dhatu means to ask or to question. This particular Dhatu, when used in first person, that is Uttama Purush, speaker talking about himself. So first person, singular and present tense, that is lat lakar in Sanskrit. So prachya dhatu, it changes into this form prichhami. The form that we see in the shloka, again simply meaning I am asking, Arjuna talking about himself. And see, now I am raising a question, katham bhutaha. So Arjuna, he is describing himself using some adjectives. And again, before we have seen that whenever we want to inquire about the adjective, so I have used this form, kidrishaha. You may have noticed this thing. This kidrishaha, this katham bhutaha, actually you can use either of them. So katham bhuta, actually when I want to inquire about the mental state of that thing. So it is like a describe the state. Describe to me what state is that person or that object in that you are describing. So when I want to inquire about that, I use katham bhutaha, but you can also use kidrishaha. So not a problem. Okay. But anyways, katham bhutaha, how being, how Arjuna is describing himself. And the first adjective he uses is karpanya dosho pahata swabhavaha. So this long word is obviously a samasa, a compound word made of different words. Okay, so this compound word, this samasa, is made up of these four words: karpanya, dosha, upahata, swabhava. And this swabhava, this is the last word, so the main word which we are trying to describe here. Swabhava simply means the inner nature of a person. So this self. So you can use self also, and here you can also use nature also. both will work. That one whose nature is infected, so self nature in that same way. And then this upahata, so upahata, this means infected. So infected, or you can say overpowered in that sense also. You can see this word, no, upahata. So the root here is han. And han, this dhatu means to destroy. In that sense we use, right? We have seen this dhatu a lot of times. Hatva, ahatva, all these words coming from this dhatu only, han dhatu. That means to kill or to destroy. And this particular dhatu han is obviously here being modified using this ta suffix. So this ta suffix to change the dhatu into its past participle form. So when han dhatu combines with ta, the resultant word becomes hata. Okay, hata. And hata, this means something that is destroyed, something that is killed in that sense. When I attach this upsarga, so this upsarga, this gives it the meaning of something that is overpowered. Upahata, something that is overpowered in that sense. So swabhava, nature, upahata, overpowered. So nature that is overpowered, simple as that. And then the question is, nature that is overpowered by what? So that is this karpanya dosha. So karpanya, let us understand this word. So this karpanya essentially means pity. Okay, pity. Pity, or again, that is why I've used this misery, pity or misery in that sense. You may have seen this word kripana. So kripana, this pratipadika, this is very commonly used to represent someone who is poor. Okay, someone who is poor, someone who is weak in that sense also. Understand this, that this poor is not of this material wealth quality. This poor means someone who is poor of spirit, like who's very weak, who's very, in a miserable state. In that sense, someone who is poor. So kripana, we generally use for that person. From this only we are getting this word karpanya. So the quality of being poor or weak. So that weakness, that pity in that sense. And dosha simply means the vice. Okay, the vice, the negative trait, the negative tendency. So for our understanding, we provide them, when we open them, we provide them the necessary declensions, the necessary word cases, vibhakti. But when we combine them into samas, we simply combine them using their pratipadika state. Karpanya doshena upahata, that will turn into karpanya dosh upahata due to this dosha and upahata. So there is a of this sha, right? A plus u. So the guna sandhi happens, that is why it changes into o. That is why these three words combine as karpanya doshopahata. What you see here, karpanya doshopahata. Okay, due to this guna sandhi that is happening between dosha and upahata. So karpanya doshopahata, and this swabhava, this nature is described with this word now, that the nature that is karpanya doshopahata, destroyed by the vice of pity. Okay, so that is how this also combine, and this becomes a single samasa, single compound word. So together, karpanya doshopahata swabhava prichhami, that I ask, and now he's describing himself, Arjuna, that I, whose nature is infected by the vice of misery, by the vice of pity, by an unconditionable pity. And again, to have pity, this itself is not a bad thing. But we have to understand this from the context of, from the perspective of Arjuna, that this pity that Arjuna is feeling, this is coming from a misplaced compassion. So misplaced compassion, that is necessary to understand that this empathy, this pity is feeling is not of the right source. This pity is he's feeling for all the wrong reasons. That is only going to cripple him, and it have already crippled him. That as the most brilliant of warrior, he is still feeling so weak from within and outside, that his limbs are shaking, his mouth is drying, all these negative traits, all these weakness we have seen Arjuna himself confess in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So this pity here, that is coming from a misplaced compassion, that is coming from all the wrong reasons. And by saying this, Arjuna himself is accepting this, that my nature is infected by this vice of misery. Because that is how Arjuna is describing himself. Arjuna uses one more adjective for himself, and this adjective is again more or less like a consequence of this condition. So this is dharma sammood chetaha, and this again is a compound word, this again is a samasa. So dharma, this again is not to be understood as the religion. So this dharma, this is nowhere related to religion. Dharma simply means, in this case, one's moral duty. And in a much bigger scale, dharma simply means the law of being. That whoever the being we are talking about, what is his true nature? So that is dharma. And in this, the context of the shloka, Arjuna, he is represented as a Kshatriya. So in this condition, in this situation he is currently in, that is in between the battlefield, Arjuna, who is a Kshatriya, his dharma is to fight. So in that sense, dharma here is to be understood. Dharma simply referring to one's own moral duty in this context of the shloka. And sammudha. Mudha simply means a foolish person, a stupid person. And this mudha, this also refers to someone who is very confused or who is utterly lost, in that sense, mudha. And by supplying this prefix, some prefix with this pratipadika, so some, this prefix generally is used in the sense of together or in the sense of proper. That's something that is done very properly or something that is done together with a group, in a group maybe. So sammudha. So in our sense, we can think of it like properly perplexed. And properly perplexed simply means one who is utterly confused, one who is hopelessly confused, in that sense. So just to give this mudha, this pratipadika, some weight, some additional weightage, we are using this upsarga sammudha. Okay. And now these two words together are trying to say that someone who is sammudha, completely perplexed in the matters of dharma. So we can maybe convey this thing as dharmasya vishaye. We can write it like this, that dharmasya vishaye sammudha, that someone who is sammudha, someone who is perplexed in the vishaye, in the matter of dharma, dharmasya. So dharmasya vishaye sammudha iti dharma sammudha. We can simply combine them, that instead of writing this whole story dharmasya vishaye sammudha, we simply combine the main words in their pratipadika state into a compound word, that is samasa, combined as this single word dharma sammudha. So see, all these compound words, all these samasas, even though they have their own categories, they have their own names also. And this is a tatpurusha samasa, this is a bahuvrihi samasa. So you have different categories. Maybe in future we'll make a video where we'll touch upon these. But the more important thing, as I feel, is to understand what might have been the essence of this samasa, what this samasa, what this combination might be trying to convey to us in the context of the shloka, in the context of the verse. So dharma sammudha, you can open this in different ways also. But again, in the context of the shloka, to convey the meaning, dharmasya vishaye sammudha, just to convey that someone who is perplexed in the matters of dharma, someone who is utterly confused in the matters of what he should do or what he should not do regards to his duty. So for that sort of person, we can use this samasa, this adjective dharma sammudha. Okay. And now this word chetaha. So this chetaha, this is coming from the pratipadika chetas. Okay, this is a sakarant pratipadik. We have used this pratipadika before also, but notice something here. The form is chetaha. Okay, and even though this form may look a bit like this ramaha, that is it is a plural, it is a prathama vibhakti, first word case plural form, but this is not the case. This chetasa here, what we have seen before, is a neuter gender pratipadika, and the neuter gender pratipadika chetas, that in prathama vibhakti ekvachana, that becomes chetah. So we may not have seen this particular form chetah, but very similar to this chetas, we might have seen, and I think we definitely have seen this word manas. Okay, this manas, this pratipadika also, just like this, is a sakarant neuter gender pratipadika. And the prathama vibhakti ekvachana, first word case singular form of this manas is manaha. And this manaha we have used quite often in different subhashitam also, in these verses also. Okay, so this we have seen, but again chetaha. So how come this form is coming, chetaha? So this chetaha also is the first word case singular form only. But the difference is this chetas, this pratipadika, this is not the neuter gender pratipadik. No, this is the masculine gender pratipadik. Okay, so even though both manas and chetas, they are sakarant word, but this manas, this is a neuter gender pratipadika from which we get this manaha. But this chetas used here is the masculine gender pratipadika, for which the first word case singular form is not chetaha, it is chetaha. It is this. Okay, so that is the difference. This sakarant is a masculine gender sakarant pratipadika. Chetas, again, hope you are all aware of by now. Chetas simply refers to what you can say, a mind or the intellect, the buddhi, in that sense. And now you can understand the meaning also, that someone whose chetaha, someone whose mind, whose intellect is dharma sammudha, whose intellect, whose mind is completely perplexed in the matters of dharma. So that is just what it is. I just wanted to show you this contrast, that this chetaha, this is neither this coming from an akarant pratipadika bahuvachan form ramaha. It is neither this, nor it is coming from this neuter gender manas kind of pratipadika. But this chetas here is a masculine gender pratipadika whose first case singular is chetaha. Okay. And again, if you want to see another word that is similar to this chetas, so that is very common, chandramas. So chandramas, this is also a sakarant pratipadik, that is a masculine gender sakarant pratipadika. Chandramas simply means moon. And for this pratipadika also, the first word case singular form, prathama vibhakti ekvachana form is this chandramaha. So see, similar like chetas chetaha, chandramas chandramaha. So now you can see the parallel, okay? And now this entire statement will mean karpanya dosho pahatas swabhava dharma sammood chetaha aham prachami. That I, whose swabhava, whose self is infected by the vice of misery, and whose chetaha or whose mind is sammuda, is completely perplexed, dharma, in the matters of dharma, that who is utterly confused as to what his duty should be, what he should do, what he should not do. So using these two adjectives, this is how Arjuna is describing himself. And again, we have this additional detail that since Arjuna is saying that I am asking, aham prachami, I am asking, so I am asking to who? Whom you are asking? So that to whom? And the response is of course, tvam prachami, that aham tvam prachami, I am asking you. So Arjuna, since is directly talking to Shri Krishna, so this tvam is obviously referring to Shri Krishna here. And this tvam, this word form, Shabdrup, is obviously coming from the second person pronoun, that is Yushmat. Okay, anything that is related to the Madhyam Purusha, that is second person, comes from this Pratipadika Yushmat, and this tvam is simply the second word case instead of the first. Why second word case? Because again, this Krishna here, this to you here is the object of this action. Tvam prachami. Arjuna saying that I am asking this to you, that is to Shri Krishna. I hope everything is clear up till now. Let us move on. So now, as I mentioned, that this entire shloka can be divided into different sections. So what you just saw, think of it like first section that is completed. Now Arjuna is saying another statement, and for that we start with this bruhi. Bruhi means you kindly speak. That the speaker is asking the listener to speak. And this particular verb form, this particular dhatu roop is coming from the dhatu bru dhatu. Bru dhatu again, that means to speak, to tell in that sense. This is in second person, that is Madhyama Purush, singular, and imperative mood, that is lot lakar in Sanskrit. Okay, lot lakar, imperative mood. Why we use imperative mood? When we want to give a command or we make a request. So as per the context, we obviously know this is not like a command. Since Arjuna is talking to Shri Krishna, it is obviously a request. That is why I've added this word kindly speak. That Shri Krishna, you kindly speak in that sense. Okay, so that is this Bru Dhatu changing into Bruhi. And now immediately a question will come that what? That okay, Arjuna, he wants Shri Krishna to speak. But to speak what? Kim Bruhi. So the response is Tat Bruhi. So kindly speak that. Again, a question will pop up that Tat Kim. That kindly speak that. But what is this that? What you are talking about? And now this tat, this that is further described as Yat Nishchitam Shreyah Syat Tat Bruhi. But anyways, first let us understand the individual words. Yat, this was obviously coming from this Pratipadika only, Yat. Okay, Yat is one who or one which. This is acting like a pronoun. This is acting like a pronoun to this main noun, Shreyah. And since this Shreyah, this is in turn coming from this Pratipadika, Shreyas. And this Shreyas, this is a Sakarant Pratipadika. This is similar to that Manas. So this is also a neuter gender Pratipadika. And that is why this Pratipadika, in Prathama Vibhakti Ekvachana, this Shreyas changes into Shreyah. Just as we saw, no, Manas changes into Manaha. Both of them Sakarant neuter gender Pratipadika. So Shreyah. And since again this pronoun is pointing to this Shreyah, so that is why we saw that this is also in first case singular. Because pronouns adjectives should match its proper noun. Okay. So you have this main noun Shreyah, you have the pronoun Yat, and of course in between you have this as an adjective. Nischita. We already know this, the meaning of this Pratipadika. Nischita means something that is decisive, something that is definite in that sense. Nischita, we also use in Hindi, very common word. And again, since this Pratipadika also is the adjective of this noun, so this will also take all the properties of its noun. So this will also be in first case singular and in a neuter gender form. So Nischita changes into Nishchitam. Okay, so I hope all these three words are clear now. Shreyah, this is the main noun. Shreyas actually means something that is auspicious, right? Something that is auspicious. So this is the main noun. this pronoun pointing towards it, so using the same form, this nishchitam adjective pointing towards it, so using the same form, all of them in neuter gender, first word case, singular form. Okay, so this is our main, like a subject to this verb syat. And this verb syat, this means would be. Okay, would be, and you can also use in the sense should be, because this syat is coming from this dhatu, as dhatu. As dhatu means in simply to be, asti, santi in all these verb forms. Here, this as dhatu is being used in potential mood. Potential mood, vidhiling lakar in Sanskrit. And potential mood, it shows a potentiality of something, that something might happen. So, would be. Okay, instead of a definite is, asti. Because this asti is in lat lakar present tense, that something is. So that is lat lakar present tense, but here it is potential mood vidhiling lakar. Okay, so syat something would be, and this is the subject to this verb. That one which would be nishchitam shreya, one which would definitely be auspicious. And now you should relate this with the context of the previous shloka, that in previous shloka Arjuna mentions, see, there are two paths, that either we kill them, that either the Pandavas kill the Kauravas or the Kauravas kill the Pandavas. And then Arjuna stresses on this point that etat katarat gariyaha na vidmaha. That out of these two paths, katarat gariya, which of the two is better, na vidmaha. We don't know. He clearly said this in the previous shloka. Okay, so I hope now contextually you understand this entire formation. That Arjuna simply asking Krishna that you speak, kindly speak that, kindly speak about that, kindly enlighten me about that, yat nishchitam shreyasat, one which would definitely be auspicious. Okay, and now you see this nishchitam, this you can use as an adjective for this shreya, that something that would definitely be auspicious, or you can also relate this nishchitam with this bruhi, that tat nishchitam bruhi, because nishchitam also means, as I mentioned, that surely, decisively, that Arjuna is saying that Krishna, tat nishchitam bruhi, you decisively speak, or you decisively tell me which would be shreya, which would be auspicious, which path out of these two would be auspicious. Just decisively tell me. So you can use this nishchitam as an adverb for this bruhi also, but for me I find this using it as an adjective for this shreya to be more relatable. That is why I put here yat nishchitam shreya sat, one which would be nishchitam shreya, definitely auspicious, which would definitely be auspicious in that sense. Okay, but anyways, let us move forward. And now he's also saying kindly speak to whom. So obviously he's talking about himself, that kindly speak to me, kindly enlighten me, kindly inform me, in that sense. That is why he's using this may. Okay, this may again is coming from the first person pronoun asmat. So everything that is related to the speaker, that is first person, comes from this pronoun asmat pronoun. And this may is of course the sixth case, shashti vibhakti singular ekvachana. Okay. Tat me bruhi, kindly speak for my sake, kindly speak for my understanding, in that sense. And see, here you could have used the simple mam. And mam, it would have been the second case. Why? Because speak to me. Since I am the object, so I will use the second case, dvitiya vibhakti. So tat mam bruhi. He could have said this also, and grammatically this would also been right. But again, he is saying tat me bruhi, that is also grammatically right, using the shashti vibhakti. That kindly speak for my sake, in that sense. Okay, so far so good. So first Arjuna says aham prachhami, that I'm asking you. And I'm asking you to do what? I'm asking you to bruhi, to kindly speak, to kindly inform me, enlighten me about the path which is better, which is a better path, in that sense. Okay, that is the more or less the gist of these two things that we have decoded. Now he is saying aham, that is I am. Okay, we are starting with this again, this smaller section, shishyate aham. So obviously the question is kaha, aham kaha, and that is shishyaha. That Arjuna is saying that I am shishyaha, I am student, I am disciple. Okay, that is what shishyaha, obviously coming from the pratipadika shishya. This here is in the obviously prathama vibhakti ekvachana, first word case singular form. So we'll move on. And kasya, that Arjuna is saying I am student. Who's student? Kasya shishyaha. So the entire statement is aham te shishyaha. And this te is again coming from, just as we saw, no, for me, coming from the shashti vibhakti singular of first person pronoun, because there Arjuna was talking about himself. So came from asmat, the first person pronoun. This te is obviously coming from the second person pronoun we have seen before, yushmat. So yushmat pratipadika in shashti vibhakti singular changes into te. And again you have another word also, that is tava. Okay, just as we have another word, no, me, mama, mama, my. Tava, your. So for that your, you have tava, you have te. Both Shashti Vibhakti Ekvachan. That is what is being used here. Aham te shish. I am your student. I am your disciple. And again, your obviously referring to Krishna. That Arjuna is saying that Krishna, I am your disciple. That I consider me your student, your disciple in that sense. Okay, so far so good. And last statement that Arjuna makes is, that is this last section of the shloka, Shadhimam Tvam Prapannam. So this Shadhi again is a second person Kriya Pada. Just like Arjuna said, no, Bruhi, that Krishna, kindly speak. So in that same way, he is continuing that after, once he said that kindly speak, kindly instruct me, then he said that I am your student, consider me your student, your disciple. And then he continues and says, Shadhi, that means you, Krishna, please teach. Again, kindly teach, kindly instruct in that sense. And this Shadhi, this form is coming from the dhatu Shas dhatu. Shas dhatu means to educate, to inform, to teach in all these senses. And here it is second person, that is talking about the Madhyama Purush, singular Ekvachan and imperative mood Lot Lakar. That since Arjuna, he wants Shri Krishna to teach, so he is making a request that Shri Krishna, you kindly teach, kindly educate me, kindly inform me. Okay, in all those sense, Shas changes into Shadhi in these three properties. And again, if we'll continue, so just to complete the sentence, that Shadhi come, that Arjuna he wants Shri Krishna to teach who? So obviously, Mam Shadhi, that please teach me. So now see, with Bruhi, we saw that he used me. That is the Shashti Vibhakti form. So kindly speak for me, for the benefit of me. In that sense, he used this Shashti Vibhakti form me. Here he is simply using the second case because he is the object of this action, right? Asmat pronoun, Asmat Pratipadika, in second case changes into Mam. And again, he is further describing himself. That is why I am asking this question, Kidrisham. That how is Arjuna describing himself now? That is Prapannam. Prapannam Mam Shadhi. And Prapannam, this means someone who has surrendered, someone who has taken refuge. So this Prapannam, this is coming from this again is a verb based adjective derived from a verb. So the dhatu here is pad. Pad dhatu means to go in that general sense. And this particular dhatu is again being modified with that past participle suffix, that is the suffix. But due to some special sandhi changes, the word that is formed becomes this panna. So in general sense, since pad means to go, this is the past participle suffix. So this panna, this will mean something that is gone, right? Someone that has gone. But again, with this use of this prefix pra, and again within the context of the shloka, prapanna. So prapanna would better signify someone who has surrendered, someone who has taken refuge, that someone who has gone and surrendered in that sense. And again, since this is being used as an adjective for this mam, that Arjuna is describing himself as this prapanna, so of course it will also take the same second case singular form. So prapanna, this will change into prapannam. That is what is happening here. But surrendered to whom? In that sense, again a simple question, kam prapannam, and the response is tvam prapannam. So this is how Arjuna is completing that statement, that Shadi, kindly teach mam, me, I who has taken refuge, or I who have surrendered Swam to you, or I who has taken refuge in you. Okay, so that is how he's completing the statement. If we'll move on to the Anvaya section now. So let us see the Anvaya section along with translation. So aham tvam prachami. Arjuna is saying, Arjuna opens this shloka by that I prachami, am asking, tvam, I am asking you. And then he goes on to describe himself as karpanya dosha upahata swabhavaha, that I whose self, or I whose nature, swabhava whose nature is overcome, upahata. So upahata, overcome or overpowered or tainted, that I whose nature is tainted with karpanya dosh, with misery, or with the fault of faint-heartedness, or with the fault of weakness, unnecessary pity, all these negative traits. And dharma sammudha cheta, that whose mind, chetaha, is dharma sammudha, is completely perplexed in the matters of dharma. That due to this misery, due to this pity, my mind is completely confused as to what my dharma is, as to what my moral duty is or should be. So says Arjuna, that I ask you to kindly speak to me that yat nishchitam shreyasat, that which would definitely be auspicious. That kindly speak to me, kindly inform me about the path that would decisively be auspicious, or that would be better, that would be good, or that would be best for us, for me, for Pandavas, for everyone actually. The correct path, the dharmic path, he's asking Krishna to inform about, to speak about that. Okay, and then just to emphasize this request, he adds that aham te shishya asmi. Asmi again implied that I am your student, I am your disciple, consider me your disciple. And then again he says that Shadhi. Shadi means that, oh Krishna, please teach. Shadi, please teach, please educate. Mam Shadi, please educate me. And again he describes himself in the position of a student as Tvam Prapannam. That I am your student who have Prapannam, who have surrendered. Tvam, who have surrendered to you, or who have taken refuge in you. So that is the meaning of this entire shloka. A lot of big words and everything, but I hope grammatically everything was clear. Contextually also, this is after a long time again we are seeing that Arjuna, he is at least accepting what his mental condition, he is accepting that his mind is perplexed, he is not able to make the proper decision regarding his swadharma, regarding his duty. And that is why he is asking Shri Krishna that, okay, guide me, I need help now. I hope up till this point everything is clear. Download the PDF file to reference, to practice on your own time. Again, I'll meet you in the next video, in the next shloka. Until then, stay awesome, stay happy, keep learning Sanskrit. Vayam punah milamaha.